And we're back for game number 2 of this best of 3. EG taking on Team Liquid in a storied rivalry that all of a sudden has a brand new wrinkle. The last 2 times these teams met, Team Liquid coming up short and putting up a double goose egg. Evil Geniuses blanking them 2-0 in their previous 2 meetings, including a winner's bracket meeting as well. Liquid, though, getting a win when it matters the most here, when it's do or die time, when it's win or go home time. They lead this series 1-0, and EG, who for all intents and purposes has been the Cinderella story, has been the Carl Spackler of the G-1 Western Qualifier, now just 1 game away from elimination. I'm AC. You're listening to One More Game TV2. Hope you guys are having as much fun as I am. And once again, thanks for spending your day here with us. The morning, evening, or afternoon really does mean the world. So, do believe game number 1 showed us that, and again, it was covered at length. And it's one of those ongoing themes that I really do think needs to be talked about more and in-depth, and I wish I had Brax with me. By the way, Brax will not be here for this game either. Unfortunately, his train was delayed, but he was in Shanghai doing a photo shoot, so we can definitely understand the sexy man. Gotta go ahead, show off the pearly whites and all that fun stuff for his millions and millions of adoring fans, or at least his gobs of them. Not sure what the number exactly is, but, if you're not a Brax fan, then you just don't know Brax. That's generally my approach to things, but he will be delayed, so unfortunately, it will just be me on the microphone by myself. This time, we're hoping he'll be able to join us for the second best of 3 of the day, which will be Fnatic and Alliance, and of course, we'll hold out hope for that and try to keep people updated as to if he's going to be able to join me for that broadcast. But as it stands, coming down the stretch, EG fell behind. EG started out really well. They had a lineup that I felt like was really going to be able to put the screws to Team Liquid. And again, we saw the breakdown that I had talked about, that, again, coming back to the whole robust versus thin lineups. When Liquid lost TC, when Liquid was unable to execute the perfect chain of initiation, we saw that maxim, or that concept, in practice. There were a couple of fights, even after EG had fallen so far behind, and even after they had lost 2 sets of racks, there were still a couple of fights where EG just ran over top of them. And that's something that a well-rounded lineup can do. Whenever you draft a lineup like Liquid had drafted then, you are going to be able, when you put it all together, just because of how well thought out and how cerebral your draft happened to be, you're going to be able to just pick apart a team so long as everything goes your way. When it doesn't, things tend to fall apart. And it fell apart a couple of times for Liquid, and it was really looking like EG was going to be able to fight their way back into things. But finally, EG succumbing to the siege by Team Liquid. And most of it due to 2 excellent plays. Korok with a great vacuum that bought just enough time for TC to get himself out of harm's way, and then a phenomenal disruption out of IX Mike being at the right place in the right time and using the one spell he had to get right. Doing so, buying TC enough time to emerge, pop his BKB, use his Satanic, and then he just went to town, and it was all over but the crying at that point. And Liquid going to look to roll that momentum up into a sweep at EG, thinking might be time for a game 3 if they can get a win here. So let's look at the bans and the picks and where they stand right now. Lone Druid, Lifestealer taken out by EG. Probably the 2 most potent carries. And, this is a personal opinion, of course, but this includes talking to a lot of professional players in the West as well as in the East. Some of the conversations I've had with folks from LGD and so on is, many consider that combination in particular. Both of those heroes are strong, but it's not as if it's like, oh, they got a Lone Druid, therefore the game is over. It's nothing quite like that. But when those 2 heroes are together, the way that they work together in so many ways, and the fact that they take pressure off of each other in terms of who has to carry when, how much room do you have in terms of farm, and how aggressive can you play against how defensive do you have to play. Those 2 heroes, when put together, really can just open things up and give a team a lot more options. So no surprise to see EG taking that away from Liquid. Liquid banning the Wisp and the Bat, and EG manages to land a Magnus. Does cost them a Nyx Assassin, TA, and Clockwork, though. I'm just going to say this. Why not ban the clock against Liquid? Really? I'm not joking. I've been saying this the entirety of G1. Bulba might be the best Clockwork player on the planet. I will say without a doubt, Bulba is the best Clockwork player outside of China. I have no doubt about this fact. And when I would love to see the stats. Somebody called Bruno. I would love to see what Liquid's win percentage is when Clock is drafted. If it is less than 85%, I would be shocked. I would be just... I would be jaw-dropped. I really would. He is just that good on that hero. He knows how to run him so well. And he's going to hit his hooks. Bulba hit a ton of hooks in the last game. There's only one that he missed that I feel like he didn't really need to miss, and it was when they were sieging the tier 3 in mid. But even aside from that, they took the tower anyway, and he certainly played well in that engagement. Ban the clock, man. I mean, it's good. I would much rather give away a lifestealer than I would give Bulba a clockwork, especially when you're already giving away a Nyx assassin, likely to be handled by Fluff, and Korok going to be on one of his all-time favorite heroes in the Templar Assassin. You know, that dates back to when TA actually first went into the game. I remember Korok, of all the pro players I knew at the time, Korok was the most excited to see Templar Assassin going into the game. So that's a hero he knows well, plays well, and certainly knows how to wield. EG, though, going with about as stable a lineup as you could ask. They got the Magnus there in mid, gives them initiation, counter-initiation, makes it real hard to push into them if they're in position, and the safety belt that is the Phantom Lancer. But we saw Liquid dismantle a Phantom Lancer lineup against Na'Vi. And, you know, I'm sure EG's conscious of that. EG, a team of very talented players that all do their homework. But just seeing how well Liquid just understood that matchup, how well Liquid knew how to take apart a lineup predicated on a Phantom Lancer, it's a little worrisome to me. Whenever I see them grab that hero in the first phase, nonetheless. I mean, they probably could have held off on him, honestly, and picked up maybe a higher tier support, picked up a Darkseer, for example, or something like that. Even a Gyrocopter, which we see is actually their ban out now. But, you know, I mean, when you look at the options Liquid has left, they are in a pretty good position. Lifestealer, Lone Druid already gone. Gyro's now gone. I wouldn't be surprised to see EG go ahead and spend a ban on Faceless Void. Faceless Void's Chronosphere could be an excellent answer to Magnus, for example. So they might just go ahead and take out all the hard carries and just count on the fact that Phantom Lancer is going to find his farm. I mean, that's what makes PL so maddening to have to play against and cope with, is the fact that even if you shut him down early, you have to keep the pressure on the entirety of the game. He's like Anti-Mage in a lot of ways, except he has an invis escape mechanism. So, if you know, even if you shut him down in the laning phase, you're going to have to stay right on top of him, pressure, take towers, so on and so forth. Liquid banning out the Chen, I feel like, is an excellent ban. We're actually going to see EG spend one on Shadow Demon now, which, of course, is always excellent. And Shadow Demon, one of the better counters to Phantom Lancer, allows you to at least have some fallback way of dealing with the slow push the PL can give an enemy team in the late game, being able to disrupt one of his illusions. With a little RNG luck, you get an army of your own to fight against his army, and then it gets kind of crazy. But, you know, Liquid banning out the Chen here, worrying about the push potential coming out of EG. And I actually feel like Liquid's lineup might have benefited from a Chen a little bit, because you do want to put the pressure onto a PL whenever you can. And what I think we might see here out of Liquid, depending on what's banned and what is allowed to come through. Coddle, again, by the way, is going to make it into the second ban phase and finally banned out by Liquid. What I think we're going to see is potentially a lineup that's going to have some follow-up stuns to the Impale, a Nyx Assassin, then Alina perhaps, something like that, a Leshrac even. Just Alina I feel like would be great. And EG's actually going to go ahead and opt to ban the Anti-Mage. So not wanting to see a repeat of what went down with Alliance and Na'Vi the last time that we saw a PL and an AM go super-duper late game, which, by the way, was one of the more bizarre games I've ever broadcasted. And, you know, very much congratulations to Alliance there. But, yeah, that game they lost there, they had no business losing. And, yeah, there's that Lina pickup. That's what I was talking about. I just mentioned it. Alina, Leshrac. I like Lina a lot more because Lina is much more of a damage-oriented hero than Lesh is. I mean, and don't get me wrong, Lesh certainly can do a lot of damage with Pulse Nova, with Edict, and so on and so forth. But Lina, early on, doesn't need a ton of levels. She's excellent with single-target DPS, and she's undervalued, I think, by a lot of viewers. In terms of just how much AoE damage she could do. If you get lucky, catch a couple with Light Strike Array and then a Dragon Slave, that's a lot of damage. EG is going to go ahead and grab up a Venom. And getting to see the return of a Milk Venomancer, by the way. Maybe we'll get to see a Milk Award in action. I've yet to earn my Milk Award, by the way. Came very close, though. I think I played a game as Veno a long time ago. And I think I went like something like 2 and 19 or something on him. So for those who don't know, the Milk Award, named for Milk, is you have to play a support, you have to die 20 times, not get a single kill, and still win the game. And yeah, that was the closest I've ever come. And you know, if you have a good Milk Award story, let me know. I'd love to hear it. But back to Liquid. Looking at the way they're going to line this up, they still need a carry. That's going to be their question. And how all-in they want to go in on the mid-game is going to be a question as well. Juggernaut's still available if they wanted to do something like that. That would be extremely all-in. Or they could show us something surprising, Faceless Void. is an option that I don't think should be counted out at this stage. And then just build the Void as more of a mid-game damage dealer and just count on getting ahead and staying ahead in the mid-game, using Chronosphere and the power of it to crack the base. And one of the great things Liquid has going for them, of course, is the reach they're going to have already with TA and Clockwork. The hook from Clock Essential, Templar Assassin's ability to blink in, engage, and to do so with Refraction up, which is, of course, a nice way to guarantee that you can survive at least a little while. But this is this is a pick that is really... I feel like Liquid has kind of euchred themselves into a corner here. There's not a whole lot of flexibility they can really have with this last pick. It's going to be one or the other, generally. It's going to be either we go late game and hope we can beat them there, and we just have a good laning phase that allows us to apply pressure to the PL, and then we just farm better and win late. Or we're going to go pretty all in on the mid game. And as we wait, my foot's tapping. I'm actually really anxious. They're going to go Luna. So Luna is a hero that can go toe-to-toe with the PL. That's actually a fairly decent compromise as opposed to, say, a Void or a Juggernaut. Those two extremes in terms of looking for damage out of some kind of a carry-oriented hero. Luna does have late-game potential. Glaives are very, very strong. Certainly a good way to deal with Phantom Lancer illusions as well. And she can give you some team fight, but Luna getting a good start is of the paramount importance. She has to get off to a good start. We saw Owie 2000 just yesterday, by the way, end up having a very bad start against Evil Geniuses. And because of that, he never really got himself back into position. He never really got himself to where he was a major influence in the game. If EG could slow Luna down, or at least, Brand, this is the comfort of where EG is right now. When you look at the lineup, Luna is going to be an excellent carry. Unless she gets way ahead, she's not going to out-carry a PL, which means that EG can look to break even early. EG can look to just keep things stable, to just try not to give up a ton. If they do that, they're actually going to be in okay position. So Liquid's very much going to be under the gun here, trying to make something happen. But they have a great lineup for that. Again, they have reach, they have follow-up stunts, and we're going to see a Broodmother picked up by EG. And Bambo going to be on it as well. And I was just going to say, I hope it's Bambo, because Bambo is a Broodmother player from back in the old school. So when you look at this lineup, there's going to be tons of push coming out from Evil Geniuses. They're going to have a lot of stability. But I do feel like it might be a little chancy for EG, for the simple fact that Brood players tend to either be really good games or really bad games. You don't usually see a moderately played Broodmother. Either she's taking tower, she's farming the jungle, she's getting her items, and she's just being a terror, a complete liability that the other team has to answer for. Or she's a hero that, maybe has a bad laning phase, she doesn't really get a good start, there's good reactions, and that is a worry when I look at the fact that Team Liquid has a lot of ways to cope with Broodmother. They really do. The AoE potential out of Lina, Templar Assassin with Side Blades is going to be able to melt down the Spiderlings really well, so will Luna, so on and so forth. And of course, as always, though, just going to come down to gameplay. This is the first time I've seen a Broodmother in a long time. I want to say you have to go back to like midway through D2L Season 2, which means you're going back to like March, maybe even earlier than that, like February, the last time I saw a Broodmother played. And we'll see Bambo making his way to the offlane. I'll run through the lineups in a minute. But yep, will be Milk on the Vino. And Fear back on Rubik, man. And Fear loves him some Rubik. Don't blame him a bit. He's a very good Rubik player for the most part. So let's go ahead and run through our lineup. See who's handling who. TC will be playing our Luna. We'll be farming her up. Korok setting up shop in mid as anticipated on the TA. Fluff will be playing on Lena. We're going to have Bulba back on the Clockwork again. A player you want to watch. Big playmaker from this position. And IX Mike, this time going to be on the Nyx Assassin. Other side of the river. Milk. Gonna be hoping he doesn't get another Milk Award here today. Well, I guess if he gets a win, he won't really care. But yeah, let's change that. We'll be willing to get a Milk Award if it'll give him a win. Phantom Lancer gonna be handled by Jo. Magnus gonna be played by Demon, who's setting up shop in mid. Sexy Bambo, as mentioned. The standing in for Beat is much love to you, my friend. Hope all is well. He's setting up shop in the solo off lane, and Rubik played by Old Man Dota. That is Fear. So looking at the way these lanes are shaping up, I don't think there's any surprise to see both teams are looking to just stay solid. As I said with Liquid, it is so important that TC gets a good start. Luna is not a hero that bounces back after a bad start the way a Phantom Lancer can. And, don't get me wrong, she can farm pretty fastly, pretty quickly. She can flash farm because of glaives and so on and so forth. But she still is just not a very good hero who plays well from behind. Phantom Lancer, again, takes a lot more concentrated effort to keep down for the entirety of a game to make sure that he is dealt with. But the thing is, it is a trade-off. The nice thing about that is that as much effort as it takes to really try to cope with him, he is susceptible so long as you have detection and you have the ability to pick him off. And now we're going to have Korok, the target of an early gank. EG gonna try to go for this. Refraction is popped. There's a skewer. Skilled by Demon that slows Korok down. And not going to have any help. This is just going to be a free first blood. Gets Refraction up again, but with the Gale, strongest level 1 spell in the game, nothing Korok can do. Yeah, Korok actually took a last hit before he died because, hey, what else you going to do, right? So deciding there was no way for anyone to come help. First blood ends up going on the board, and it goes to Rubik. So good start for EG. And a start like that is so important as well. Not only does it help, obviously, with the gold on your supports, a little bit of extra levels, a little bit extra experience on your supports, and so on and so forth. But it's so important for your mid, too, especially for Demon, who in this matchup against the TA should really struggle a bit. And TA is one of those heroes who, early on, level 1, she's not that impossible to cope with. You're going to be able to do all right. You're going to be able to do some damage and take some last hits. But by the time she's level 5, level 6, you're just really struggling. And, it is solo mid, so they are going to be at those levels very quickly. But, more importantly, Liquid getting plenty of gold for their Luna down here. We're going to see Mike and Fluff continue to hang around. They've got a Sentry Ward down, so they're keeping Bambo off as much as they possibly can. And just trying to make him a non-factor up here at top. Going to be a good start for Jo as well. And now this is what I really want to see. Is what they end up doing once Jo gets his good farm. I just saw smoke fly off the side of the map, so they're going to go for this again. I like this a lot. They're not just... They're being active. They're trying to not only give Jo free farm, but they're trying to make sure that they accomplish things elsewhere. And if they can get Korok again here, that's actually going to be a very big deal. And we can see they're going to go for it. There's the telekinesis. Demon's getting in position. TP reaction is there immediately. The Gale did not connect, so Demon holds on to his skewer. Courier takes a shot, but should be able to make it away, and does. And Cluckles upgraded at the same time. So the gank attempt not successful. And very good turn of events there that time for Korok. Korok does have his bottle and will be bottle crowing as we see Cluckles hanging out just under the tower. Bambo continues to struggle. Is sitting up. There we go. Finally spins. Spawn Spiderlings to get himself a little bit of gold. That's his first last hit of the entire game. He is going to take some damage now, though. TC's already almost level 4. He's about halfway to level 3. And we can see Bulba doing what Bulba does. Playing forward, trying to soak experience, trying to use Rocket Flare both for last hits and for harassment. Early last hits going the way of TC. He's sitting at 19 in the bank, 15 for Korok in mid, 15 for PL. In his solo lane, Bulba's actually doing really well. Bulba has 10 last hits. That's remarkable, given the fact that he is in this off lane. And, it's one thing to say, well, the supports have moved around, therefore he's had some more room to farm, which is true to a point. But the entire time those supports are moving, all he knows is they're not there. He doesn't know where they are. So it's not like he can use that time to come farm. But all signs right now looking good for Liquid. No doubt about it. First blood did go the way of EG, though. So all things told, it's a fairly break-even situation. Do they have another sentry? They do not. So at the moment, Bambo should be safe. He is going to go ahead and withdraw back under his tower, though.
Dire's middle tower is under
And should be able to get a little bit of experience here. Looks like they just want to push, actually. Yeah, this is a double wave with a catapult. And Luna says something to Lena. I didn't hear what it was. I love those little flavor texts. I really do. My favorite's when Windrunner tells Lena she likes her hair. That is just the... it's not exactly subtle or creative, but it's freaking hilarious. But as it is, Bambo doing what he can, which is watch his towers slowly be whittled down. And Liquid already off to a roaring start. Another wave's going to arrive here. And that'll be the end of the Tier 1. And, cute little move there by Fluff. Up, hang on. Bulba. This is what Bulba does, by the way. Bulba is the most miserable Clockwork. He might get a kill here. He really might. Or he might end up dead either way, as Jo does react. Bulba bit off a bit more than he could chew. Not quite enough damage done to Milk. And they're already pushing through to the Tier 2 down here, though. So you want to talk about TC getting a good start.
is under attack.
He's in great shape. Fear's going to show up and need elusive beam. Now it's a telekinesis on Fluff. Bambo's very low level, though. Can't contribute a whole lot. And the Light Striker Ray catches him. Off goes the Dust. And now the Impale at max range adds another kill to Liquid's total. The sentry's down, and now they're going to engage on a Bambo. He eats the mana burn. Here comes Fluff. Light Striker Ray very well dodged, but they're still going to be able to clean him up. Fluff still up and fighting as well. TC will die. 3 tower shots, enough to get the return kill.
Dire's middle tower
TC dropping there is actually a pretty big deal. That's a big deal for Bambo in particular, but the fact that, you know, they lost a lot there, but at the very least, TC's off the board. At least it makes it an open wound instead of a festering wound, if that makes sense. It's like, yeah, it's an open wound, but at least it ain't infected. Much better than when she's running with pus. And I just realized I probably should not talk that way, because, I mean, who wants to talk about that in Dota? But 2-3. EG still leads. And Bulba, of course, feeding the kill at top. Not very helpful for the team. But with Liquid having already put on that much pressure, and I would imagine they're going to look to put more on. Again, Lena's push power, her AoE power, the fact how well she can deal with the Broodmother is a little bit underestimated in a lot of cases. And we're seeing Demon get work done, or excuse me, Korok get work done against Demon here in mid. As he's up to 36 last hits, he's top on the board. One good piece of news for PL, since he has been doing nothing but farming and not pushing towers or engaging. He is now leading in CS. He's up to 37. So his farm is quite good for this time in the game. Clockwork's still sitting at 18. I mean, Clockwork and Demon basically have similar farm, which is pretty remarkable. Like, that's just Bulba knowing his hero inside and out. And granted, the supports have been gone. It's mostly been 2-on-1, and he can play a little bit more bravely in situations like that. We'll take our first look at the goal graph here in about 3 minutes. I usually like to take the first look at 10 minutes, as that's when things have usually had a little time to flesh themselves out. Now, the way that Jo is going to look to build here, going to be a point of contention. How quickly is he going to want to fight? I really, really like Tranquil Drum's Diffusal. It's much more stable. When you go Tranquil's Diffusal and then just start rushing out a Heart, that's actually a build that does end up stalling you out quite a bit. Or a build that can end up stalling out if you're not careful. And certainly that's the risk that you take whenever you pick a PL to begin with. We can see Bambo contesting some jungle farm now. Has his soul ring up. No boots yet, but still in pretty good shape. Korok being left alone to farm for the moment. Milk stacking and pulling that hard camp. Demon has his arc boots done. So now it's going to start the long save for his for his Blink Dagger. We're going to see a TPL out of the bottom lane. So far, outside of the push and the early action, remaining fairly quiet. Now, TC's item choice, is he's actually going to go Helm of the Dominator first. That's actually really interesting to me. I would have thought that in a game like this, Shadowblade is the natural pickup. You've got a TA to help you with damage. You've got nice burst damage coming out of Nyx Assassin and Lena. So go Shadowblade, try to take control of the game. But, you know, this does help. And when you look at the damage output that EG has, this is a problem that they're going to run into, and something that I'm fairly sure Liquid's going to look to capitalize on. Where is their damage outside of Phantom Lancer? Rubik, Fadebolt, cool. Shockwave, cool. You know, good damage. They're going to have a little bit of damage coming off of Spawn Spiderlings, and Venomancer's ult's going to be reliable damage. But they don't have really any physical damage to speak of. I mean, at some point, Bambo, you know, most Broodmothers will catch up just by virtue of how the hero functions. But they're not going to have a whole lot of damage outside of the initial wave of spells, and Demon going to be caught out and cleaned up for free. That's such an important kill for them. And that's why they're, you know, that's why of all the targets they could have gone after, they could have tried to gank the PL, could have tried to do any number of things. Moving into the enemy jungle like that is actually really chancy. But getting Demon down delays his Blink Dagger, guarantees they can push mid. We can see EG now giving some attention to top. Bulba's already level 7. He's got a wand even already, tier 1 boots. And Bambo, still playing catch-up, only has 18 last hits. They're going to get the tier 1 mid with no reprisal from EG. They're going to go ahead and try to push this top tower, but honestly, they could probably fall back and react and try to defend this if they want to. Wow, Fluff going to need a shockwave. And wow, Fluff. Yeah, that was just bad play. No idea what the plan was there. We're going to have an engagement at top, though. Fear will be able to... Nope, never mind. We'll be cleaned up by Luna. Now Luna re-engaged upon by Jo. And we see Korok able to get the kill on Milk. Now Jo's going to be the target. He is dusted. Doesn't have a blink dagger. Throws out the side trap nonetheless. Uses Doppelwalk. But able to make it away. In the meantime, at bottom, Bambo taking advantage of this lull in the action to do what a Broodmother does. Capitalize on movements around the map and try to take yourself a tower. Whittling away at it just a bit. Magnus bottles up a double damage rune. Let's see how quickly Demon wants to put that thing to use. Yep, he's going to go ahead and use it on the tier 1 mid. Bambo now getting the job done down there as well. There will be a reaction. Fluff's there as well. No detection, I don't think. Nope, there is none. So they're just going to try to clean up the Spiderlings, but Fear's there. They want to engage. Fluff will spin his Laguna Blade before he dies in, but will be cleaned up by a Spiderling. Bulba and Fluff not enough to hold the line by themselves. Fear's in bad shape being pursued out. Mike, under cover of Vendetta, wants to try and catch one of them. He's got his eye on him. Bambo doesn't see him, obviously. Fear. Looks like Mike thinks better of it. Probably makes the right call. In the meantime, Demon's just been slowly chopping wood here on the tier 1 mid. We'll be able to skewer away, and that'll allow TC to get the deny. But getting map control in their favor, essential for this lineup of EG. Or at least trying to, again, break even. That's all they have to do. Going back to TC. Still sitting on that Helm of Iron Will. You know, and the survivability that gives you, the fact that you're going to have a little bit of bonus armor, that's really nice. Don't get me wrong. You can even do cute stuff like grab an alpha and get some extra damage from that. But I worry for them. I worry that they're gonna need to fight soon, gonna want to fight, and he might be a little behind on damage. His farm's not bad, but it's not grand. He's at 3rd, 4th position on the map right now. He's right there with Demon. 58 last hits. 75 for our Phantom Lancer. 72 out of mid for TA, handled by Korok. Korok has a freshly completed Blink Dagger. Now, this is where they're likely to want to get aggressive. We can see that's definitely going to be the case as they're under cover of smoke. Right now, it's just Fluff down in bottom, just being a countermeasure as best as he can to Bambo. But at this point, Bambo can bully him around. I mean, there's only so much time that he's going to be able to keep this tower up by himself. So Liquid going to be pressed to make something happen here. They have Dust on Mike. And Mike following the creeps. And let's see if they're going to go for it. They throw out the Rocket Flare. Mike is going to end up losing his Vendetta. Unfortunately, he didn't get to use that. Here comes Korok, going to blink right on Melk and blow him up. All it took was one meld, but now the counter reaction is an RP going to be spent on Korok, but the Eclipse goes off from Luna, cleans him up quickly. Korok still up and fighting, but just barely. Jo able to clean him up. Bulba's going to be cogged in next to the tower. Jo now in trouble, though. He is dusted. They should be able to pursue him out. Fear's there doing what he can. Good hook from Bulba, slows him down. Now Fear the target. Fear should be cleaned up as well, and will be. Mike gets the kill via Carapace. That's a 3-for-1 exchange. Bambo, in the meantime, did manage to take down the tier 1 bottom. But now does have to pull back. Pushing through to tier 2 at this stage of the game would be so chancy. Very high value kills. Got 2 of the best kills. Actually, they got 4 there, counting the immediate death of Venomancer. And Melk showing why things like the Melk Award exist. 1 meld and 1 auto attack, and he goes to 0 health. But the tower still stands. Good kills going the way of Liquid. 14 minutes in, how about we look at the gold graph, see where things stand. 1,000 gold to the advantage of Team Liquid. The experience has swung in their favor as well. 2,000 experience swing. Mike back under cover of Vendetta. Oh, Melk. Oh, you sad, slow little Venomancer. He will make it back to the tier 2. Mike unable to catch up with him, despite having tier 2s. And Korok going to face tank with some refraction charges. They want to take the tier 2, or tier 1, I should say. Meantime, Bambo doing work down in bottom lane. Jo is taken back to farming. He is going to have his diffusal up very, very soon. He did go drums afterwards. And I'm so glad he did. That is just such a much more stable way to build. So much more stable. This is a crucial time of the game. Absolutely crucial. For Team Liquid and for Evil Geniuses. EG has to keep the pressure on. Once that diffusal's up, PL can start showing up in fights and doing damage. And to be honest, it's a real hard thing to deal with. I mean, didn't talk a whole lot about it, but in 2 ways, PL copes really well with TA. 1, his illusions guarantee more hits on refraction, guarantee the refraction charges pop quite quicker. 2, mana burn on diffusal means she's less likely to be able to hold on. Melk going to be engaged upon him by Bulba. Cogs are down. Here comes Korok to help clean him up. And we're not going to have a counter engagement. Jo is going to be able to double walk away. And the dust goes off a bit late from Mike. So they're unable to catch him out. Demon's very close to a blink dagger. Essential item for him. And again, that kill in mid was such a big deal because it did delay it until now. But, back to what I was saying. Having the refraction charges pop by more illusions a big deal. And the Broodmother works the same way. And we can already see, you know, they're leaving Fluff down here right now because he is the best on the team to deal with that Broodmother just in terms of being able to spam. But it also means he's squishy. Means he can't really hold if Bambo decides to get really aggressive. We can see TP reactions are going to come. They're going to try to find two. We're going to see, oh, big meld onto Fear. He's going to telekinese. Not going to matter is from downtown, the Dragon Slave off of Fluff secures the kill. Now an engagement up at top. We're going to see the cogs go down from Bulba. Oh, he actually was TPing and canceled it. Thought better of it and going to continue to try and run away now. Drum charges pop by Jo. Demon's there. And we'll add one more kill to his total. In the meantime, the pursuit continues in bottom. And Sidetrap actually caught Bambo. They don't have any detection left, though. There is a sentry right there. And Bambo right on the outside of its edge. 11-8. Action all over the map. Looks like EG wants to press a tier 1 top. Not a lot of health left on it. We'll see this drop, no doubt about it. They're going to glyph it, actually. They're going to try and get TC there. This is wishful thinking. Yeah, I mean, there was no chance they were going to get there to begin with. I guess just anticipating a push through to tier 2, wanted to buy time for the supports to walk over. And Mike goes back under cover of Vendetta, going to look for a target up lane a bit. Actually, he's going to dip down into the river now. Demon, again, who did add the blink dagger to his inventory, going to allow him to play much more along the lines that the Demon usually wants to play. Aggressive, high risk, high reward. They're going to be able to get a courier kill with Mike, though. And Mike will be able to TP away, so Mike goes fishing and catches himself a guppy. Nice little infusion of gold. Pain in the ass for EG. Little things like that are what EG or Liquid's going to have to rely on. They still can't take their foot off the pedal, though. They're going to have to continue to press the issue. We're just 17 minutes in, but already we can see the PL is making good progress. The Diffusal Blade is up. We'll see if he wants to upgrade the Diffusal straight away, if he wants to go with a Manta or a Heart. Honestly, against this lineup, a Heart would probably be the right choice. Manta would give them more push power, though. So either way, you can understand it. Now, Liquid is going to have a chance to take a shot at Roche relatively soon. They have a great team for that. Back to TC. He's actually gone Helm of the Dominator, Yasha. So maybe looking to get a Manta. Give them a little push and counter push of their own. Korok with the drums to go with his blink dagger. He did decide to go Treads instead of Phase. And again, did talk to Merlini a bit about why that's becoming a trend, just to help manage mana a bit better with Tread switching. For the longest time, it was always Phase blink. But more pros deciding to go a different direction now. Take a look at the goal graph. 2,500 to the advantage of Liquid. Experience just about in that range as well. But Liquid is, or EG's in good shape. They can just stabilize. Bambo, still hurting a bit, but he does have 2,800 gold in the bank. We're going to see Bulba caught out here. Fear spell stills him, uses the hook, jumps on top of him. He hasn't used Cogs yet. Now he will, but Bambo's in there with him. That's just unfortunate for him. Mike was making his way over, but tardy to the party and unable to bail his buddy out. Back to Demon. 1,200 gold in the bank. Jo is going to spot TC here. This is bad. Yep. That's a dead TC. He is going to go ahead and use the Eclipse. There's a lot of targets around to spread that damage. So they will be able to clean him up. Took him a bit more than I think they would have liked, but they still get the kill. Two of the highest priority kills they could have secured there. Drum's going to be the choice for Fluff, because he's added the Mantle of Intelligence. Korok, so far, has been really relatively quiet. I mean, we saw a lot of action up at top. This, and again, this worries me for Team Liquid. And this is, of course, due to EG. I mean, whenever you lose heroes like this, it's not just bad to lose them for their own sake. But Liquid, a team who has to feel a little bit pressured right now, you can't really do a whole lot whenever your main damage dealers are gone, whenever they're no longer on the map. And Jo's not far from a Reaver. He can have a Reaver in 500 gold, which is every bit. He'll have it by 22 minutes, 23 minutes at most. And that's, you know, even being less than generous. Taking a look at the net worth as we roll past 20 minutes now, we can see PL is on top. Dire's Courier does respond, so Did he have any items on him when he died? He actually had Yasha for Jo, so that's a pain in the ass. And he will be getting a Manta style. Now, this is, you know, I wouldn't call this a risky pickup at all on Jo, but it is definitely a calculated, you know, it's a decision that's going to limit what he can do. He's not going to be nearly as survivable. Even with the Manta style, he's not going to be nearly as survivable. Can Manta off the dust, though, which is always nice, and Milk wisely turns around there. Does give him some extra punching power, more attack speed, so on and so forth, which is, of course, equates to more illusions procced, so long as the RNG is fair. Yasha picked up by Bambo as well. And it looks like Liquid is going to go ahead and take this opportunity to push. They're going to end up, at best, trading Tier 2 for Tier 2. Actually, Fluff's going to go back to try and delay this, but he's likely to just end up dead here. Yeah, I mean, now that they know Magnus is there, Fluff going to throw out a Dragon Slay, but he can't get anywhere near this tower. So we see 1 for 1, looking to be the way things look. Top Tier 2 does drop, and now they're going to TP in to try and contest this. Here comes IX Mike. He's going to be telekinesis. Vendetta. No, Carapace goes up immediately. Now he's going to use Impale on Bambo. Impale was stolen. Off goes the dust, and there's an RP that caught 3! Demon got everybody. Skewers them back, and that's going to be a disaster for Liquid. The Bulba's re-engagement, though, buys them a little bit of time. Bulba just might have saved this game. If they lose TC there, they probably lose the tower. Instead, Bulba gets in, point-blank hooks, drops the cogs, and that's enough. I actually didn't think he was going to be able to get there in time. 22 minutes in, 13-12, and it's an absolute barn burner between these two teams. Liquid does keep their Tier 2 bottom up, though, so that's a win for them. Back to the gold. We have been hovering right at that 2,000 mark. The experience actually down in EG's favor, now coming back close to 0, but honestly, at this point, less than 1,000 experience is nothing in terms of difference. Korok has snuck his way into the Roche pit and looks to be trying to get away with one here. Manta style going to be the choice for Bambo. And yeah, that's going to be spotted as Melk drops the Venom Ward. And Roche is about half health. Let's see if they want to make want to fight about it. See if they want to have a contest for it. Jo, in the meantime, has continued to farm. He's going to have his ultimate orb like right now, basically. It's 100 gold off. So he's inching closer to that Manta style. Korok, you know, he's going with a damage build. Has picked up the Crystallis. Probably goes something like Daedalus. But I do feel like EG has accomplished their goal, which has been to stabilize. Liquid has not done the best job of putting a lot of pressure onto that Phantom Lancer. And granted, it's still very early. But when you have a PL who, you know, it's one thing even if you offensively tri-link the PL and denied him some farm and then you stabilize afterwards and decide not to put a lot of pressure on. PL had free farm the entire game. Luna's right on top of him with net worth. But Luna, with the build they went, needs to start feeling a little bit more punchy now. She's got a Yasha. I really do like the Yasha BKB approach, by the way. It's not something you see all that often, and it's certainly not something you see that's often led off with a Helm of the Dominator. It'll usually go something like Tranquil Boots, Drums, Yasha, BKB. Of all the builds I've seen, and you know, it's a variation on the Jackie Chan build. But of all the variations, it has always seemed the most stable to me. It's always seemed to give you just what you need when you need it. Now, TC sitting on 16 armor right now. I mean, that's a big benefit to him. But 21 on the PL by virtue of nothing but agility gain. That's, you know, again, that's my problem with it. And granted, yeah, you're closing the gap, but it's not as if you're getting way far ahead. You know, you look at EG's lineup. They don't have a lot of damage outside of the PL. They just don't. Liquid, on the other hand, has a lot of damage coming in a lot of different ways. Magic, physical, single target AoE. They've got the whole shebang there. It's a very robust lineup in that way. And now we're going to see Demon engaged upon. Mike's there, and now we're going to have a hook that lands on Milk. Milk's down to half health. They should be able to clean him up. He pops the Poison Nova to begin with. And Fear now going to telekinesis Mike. And here comes Korok to help clean that up. These are two very high-profile kills. Getting those two down. They didn't manage to get Demon, which certainly does hurt a little bit. But that should be enough. Should be a catalyst for a free... Well, they're actually going to force the buyback out of Fear. And yeah, they immediately turn around. Say, okay, Fear Bomb back. We're not going to risk a Roche. What we are going to do is try to take a tier 2 as quickly as we can. This is the kind of play that Liquid and TC have to be making. And every time there's a period of downtime is when I worry for them. So long as they're being active like this. And wow, are they actually going to try to do both? This is a little greedy. If they decide to dip into that Roshan, yeah, they're going to back out. That would have been very greedy. Very, very greedy. And they probably would have been caught out. I don't know. No, they're going to go ahead and grab Milk again. Milk going to be blown up. Fear's there, and he manages. What did he get? He managed to get Refraction. Not bad. Cogs did lock him in. Now there's an RP that catches 2. Can they follow it up? Bulba's in trouble. No, the Impale got 2. And they got everyone with the Eclipse. The mass AoE damage coming out of Fluff hits as well. The worst possible place EG could have engaged. Demon pulled the trigger without thinking. That's the worst place you can fight. TC reacted immediately, and Demon basically gave him a gift there. You blink in an RP there, and this is literally the most narrow part of the map. This piece of real estate, this path is the single most narrow part of the map. And you're against the team who, you know, as I had just covered, they have a lot of damage in an AoE. They have single target, but their AoE damage is really potent, especially in comparison. And now Fluff's going to be cleaned up, actually. Bambo trying to get away with one there. Does go ahead and use the Manta style. But, anyway. And he's actually going to go for Roche. This is smart. And Liquid doesn't look like they can do anything about it. But yeah, following that engagement, just played right in the Liquid's hands, and they got a big, big turnaround. And this is actually a big turnaround in its own right for EG. So the Roshan picked up, and the Aegis goes to Phantom Lancer. We can see Manta, Aegis, Diffusal, Drums. Jo beginning to feel large and in charge. They only have 1 outer tier tower remaining, only 2 remaining for Liquid. Fear's going to be caught with a full range Impale. Can they clean him up in time? There's a side trap from long distance, and yep, Korok's there. We're beginning to see that single target damage output really show itself now. Now, if they decide to try and push here, they're going to have to push into a Phantom Lancer with an Aegis. Still very early in this game, 27 minutes in. So the respawn timers, even on, or especially on supports, still quite high. We can see Liquid with that latest win over by the Roche pit, even though they lost the Aegis, still taking a much bigger lead than they've had all game. Same with the experience. And the individual pickoffs they're getting are a big deal, but not nearly as big a deal as they're going to feel like in 15 minutes. The respawn timer on the supports is just so high that at least for right now, they're having a hard time getting anything done just because there's no more outer tier towers remaining to push. They've cleared the map except for one. We're going to see TC leading the charge under cover of smoke along with the rest of his team. And there goes the sentry. And Bambo spotted out, going to be impaled. Cogs go down, he's locked in, and he's almost manted out of that, actually. That was surprising. Popped his Manta, and it actually took him to the other side of the Cogs. But not nearly enough. Now they're going to try to push off of that. Now EG has to decide. Do they push? Looks like Jo is going to try to split push top. 46 seconds that Brood is down. One of the better picks they could have gotten. Frees them up to push. And, you know, this is the liability. As strong as Phantom Lancer is, and this is something I probably haven't said enough about this game. The problem with the Brood Mother is she can get big. But Bambo hasn't had an excellent game. I mean, he's doing okay. But just by design of the lanes and everything else, he did not have that good of a game. Now, Fluff, got to be careful. Ada Spirit Lance now going to be able to retreat. But, you know, with Bambo being okay but not great at this point, a Brood Mother does not carry as well as other heroes do, given all things equal. She can do a lot. She can do some damage. She can be a factor. Her poison is a pain in the ass. Her ultimate gives her survivability. But there does come a point in almost every game where inevitably she starts to feel like dead weight. And when she has a break-even game like Bambo has had so far, which, I mean, he's at 30, he's got his Manta, you know, he's working on a BKB, that's grand. But he's not in the best of shape in history. Especially with a Butterfly almost done now on TC. PL banking his gold, anxious to see what he's going to buy. That Aegis still has some time left on it. About, yeah, going to be about 3 minutes, give or take. But anyway, at some point, he's going to be a liability, and this is certainly not going to help as he's re-engaged upon Milk, though, manages to land a good gale and caught 2 of them. And they're going to go ahead and back out. Mike uses Carapace, and Side Trap laid down. That was a great gale from Milk. Milk 100% saved his buddy there. If he only gets 1 target with that gale, Bambo dies almost definitely. In the meantime, Fluff trying to find his gold. And the rest of EG beginning to play very defensive, just knowing that they have the safety of a Phantom Lancer on their side. Now, again, the big problem I see, and it's very similar to what, it's very similar to the problem I identified with Liquid's lineup last game, but they were able to overcome. Liquid was all in on the damage of TC last game on that gyrocopter. When he died, the entire team collapsed. And that's going to be the case here with Jo. Whenever it comes to 5-on-5 team fight, whenever it comes to especially defending the tier 3s, if they can get a pick on Jo, it's game over for that tower. I mean, there's just no way they can fight. This is where buybacks come into play in a big way. You see PL has banked his way to a buyback, and he's going to go hard. So not going to opt to go with the butterfly, which was an option. That's the option that Luna went with. It is done for TC now. But at the same time, very, very difficult to deal with. Tanky Phantom Lancer, tanky illusions, and it looks like we may have a very important fight on the way. Now, this is where the reach and the decision-making of Liquid has to win out. They have to take their targets. Bulba is going to be the one to watch. Bulba has to hit his hook. Has to hit his hook on the right target. Can be either Magnus or PL, but it's going to need to be one of those two, I think. I suspect. You see Bambo doing what Bambo does, pushing in the lane. And, you know, this is where your Broodmother is put to the test. Because eventually Liquid's going to try to crack the tier 3, and then the Brood has to make a choice. Do I push the tier 3s on my own, or do I push tier 3s on my own? Or do I TP in and try to defend? Could go either way. The moment EG is moving out of the base of bed, we can see they're all sticking together. Liquid Mike under cover of Vendetta is going to spot the Plague Ward. And bit of a period of downtime right now. Liquid leads 20-14, 32 minutes into this game. And now the dust is going to go off. They're going to engage on the TC. He has no mana, but Mike's likely to be in trouble as he eats the defuse. There's Fluff, and Carapace is there. Unfortunately, not enough to get him away. And Fear managed to get it as well. And now Bambo pinging out Korok. Demon making his way back over, but not going to be able to get there in time to make anything happen. Gold still very much in favor of Team Liquid at this point. 7,500 to their advantage, 10,000 experience. You look at the net worth. Luna is actually ahead of the PL. So they've done a great job of making use of their map control, trying to keep EG back. Individual targeted ganks have been a success for them. Blink Dagger the pickup on Fluff, so he's going to be looking for a mobility approach on Lena. Just gives him more reach and more ways to engage and start a fight depending on what target of opportunity they happen to identify. Mech up on Milk. Fear. Not a whole lot to report. He's got some gold on him, though. Probably banking for a Blink Dagger of his own. Jo has finished his heart in the meantime. And with Empower, he is hitting hard. With Empower, he is hitting for 300 damage, give or take, 297. So they're going to have to deal with him quickly. Fluff has picked up a gem as well. But again, it's all going to come down in a lot of ways to Bulba. Bulba's target selection has to be dead on. He has to hit his hook. And if he can, he has to identify the Phantom Lancer as quickly as possible. If they can pick the Phantom Lancer before a fight, that's obviously optimal. Not likely to happen, though. You're not going to see Jo venturing too far out. The only one really far out at all is Bambo, but of course that is because he is the Broodmother, so doing what a Brood should do, which is just be a liability in one lane the entire game. Liquid invading the dire side jungle now, hooking up with TC. Looks like they want to try and make something happen as they go under smoke. All of EG, save for Bambo, is in the base. They're going to make their way into mid. This is a little bit of wishful thinking, I think. Phantom Lancer has upgraded his defusal in the meantime. And here comes the rocket flare. And it looks like they might just go ahead and go for Bambo. Yep, they're going to make their way to the south. They have a gem on Fluff. And Bambo at this point should be backing. I mean, he has to know something's up. And they're going to have to look real hard to find him. Yep, he just was spotted. He's going to... Oh, he TP! No, he stopped his TP! Stopped his TP, knew the hook was going to connect, tried to back out. And that's a gigantic pickoff. He may have to buy back. He might have to buy back. Does he have it? He doesn't. He doesn't have buyback. And Liquid's going to be able to push off of this for 60 seconds. They need to get up this lane quickly. EG already pushing out on their own right. They're going to have to withdraw most likely. Yep, there you go. TPs are coming out. And Bambo lingered a little bit in that bottom lane. That's what I was talking about. It was so quiet. And it's, you know, you could see the moment it dawned on him to hang on. This isn't safe. He backed out. But the well-placed rocket flare from Bulba spotted him out. He was TPing away, had to cancel because he knew the hook was going to connect if he didn't. And here we go. He's down for 30 seconds. They're going to be looking for a big RP. They're going to have it. What did Rubik get? Rubik got Refraction. Not a bad spell to have. And TL is actually just going to fall back for Roshan. Not feeling comfortable cracking the tier 3 right now. This worries me. I'm not going to lie. That was a big pick. They need to make something happen off of it. A Roche timer just on its way down now. Happy New Year. As Roshan respawns. And now Liquid making their way down as well. I'll tell you, it takes a lot of leadership and a lot of patience and discipline to do what they just did. Big pick at the tier 3. Could have taken a fight, but they knew that if they take that fight and lose it, and that's exactly why they pulled back. They try to take that fight and they lose. It's a free Roshan for EG and for, more importantly, for Jo. So the fact that, I mean, again, just so much discipline and so much self-awareness of, you know, we could look to take a racks here, but if we screw this up, it might be the game for us. And Liquid playing it safe. 21-15, they nonetheless got a good kill. And now Roshan likely to be the major point of contention, as both teams are really romancing their way around this Roche pit. Back and forth across the river, neither committing too much or too little. Mike is going to lead the charge around the ridge, and Liquid, this is a dangerous position to be in. This is one of the scarier places to be if you're Bulba and Korok. And Bambo is up there. We're going to see both teams basically in a semicircle around this Roche pit. This is where you have a little bit of an advantage if you're on the Dire side. Just a little bit safer for you to be in position. And we're going to see EG go for the okie doke. They smoke up. And trying to find the target on the south side. Jo is split pushing. And yeah, Liquid's doing the same thing just without smoke. They're going to run into each other. They're going to run into each other right near this secret shop. In the meantime, Korok's in there chopping wood. And here we go. They're going to be spotted, but the Gale splits the wickets. They dodged it, whether intentionally or just by luck. It went right between them. They broke in the perfect position. Now we're going to have Bulba. Throws a hook. No, he actually thought about it. Now he's just going to drop the cogs. Off goes the Poison Nova. Here comes the counter engagement. Jo's there. Bulba's going to end up cleaning one up, and Mike going to be cleaned up in return. In the meantime, the rest of them have gone into the Roche pit, and Korok still going toe-to-toe with Demon. Korok will be able to make it away, and Demon skewers out of position. Ends up dropping on the high ground, though. TC got it. TC got the Aegis. Jo wants to re-engage. Korok's there, trying to survive via Refraction. Finally, he's picked up by Fear and by Jo, but with all the illusions, the Eclipse not doing enough. However, the Satanic, recently completed on TC, allows him to heal through it. Now the turnaround, and Fear stole Eclipse and turned it around. They get the Aegis. That's a full 5-man wipe. So the Aegis goes into the pocket of Liquid, but immediately popped off by EG, Fear, stealing Eclipse and saving it for the right time. And that's actually a win for EG. A pretty big one at that. Being able to get that Aegis off, because now Liquid is going to feel a lot of pressure to just push and go for it. The gold is still well in their favor. The experience still well in their favor. Net worth, Luna still on top, and we just saw the strength of that Satanic. She's got a Yasha in the inventory as well, 3,800 gold in the bank. But we just saw the problems. And, you know, Jo has not been doing a lot of fighting this match. He just hasn't. But we just saw why, even though they are behind, why it is such a problem for this Liquid lineup. TA and Refraction, not a problem against Jo. Luna, as much as she can heal up, she's only going to have that Satanic once. She's actually... is she going to get an MKB? Looks like... I don't know, actually. We'll see. But yeah. Refraction on Korok, not a problem whenever you have a Phantom Lancer around. Luna, as quick as she can melt those illusions, now the JO's so farmed and so tanked up, and he's even added a Talisman of Evasion, so he's going to be looking to grab a Butterfly. Going to be problematic. They need a big pick. That's what it's coming down to. They're going to need a big play. They still have the lead, but it's not a very comfortable lead, I can tell you that. Can guarantee it. Demon with a BKB, we saw that showed off. And we can see EG's posture is so different now. Playing out near the center of the map. Not even worrying about it. Just saw the cogs go down, trying to slow this down a little bit. Doesn't really matter. And now the cat barks at the dog as EG crossing the river and looking to be aggressive as 5. Tier 2 going to be the target. The last remaining outer tier tower for Team Liquid. They need a play. And there's the hook. They're going to go for it. They caught Jo. Bulba's looking. No, he couldn't get the cogs off on Demon. Oh, he drops him, but doesn't get anything but illusions. Now they're going to try to re-engage. We're seeing Fluff eating damage from Bambo. There's an impale against JRP. Going to be spent on Korok, and here comes the Eclipse, but it's a day late. They needed a play, and Bulba went for it. But it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't enough. EG, who had slumbered almost all game, quietly farming, able to get the plays when they needed them, able to prevent Roshan and the Aegis from making it safely back to the Radiant side, getting it just as TC picks it up. And now, grouping and pushing, and making this composition work. One set of racks is down. They're going to rotate to bottom. GGs are likely to come out soon. Buybacks are not available. None for TC, none for TA. None for Korok, I should say. And with a Phantom Lancer this far farmed, I don't know what they can do. And this is this was my worry from the beginning. They showed some aggressive tendencies a number of times, but in the end, I felt like they really let off the gas a bit too much. We're going to see Fluff re-engage, but even look at that. I mean, the damage output even from Fluff's ulti just isn't that impressive anymore. There's a hook that's going to re-engage on the JO. And Mulk, that's his name now, Milk, will eventually be cleaned up. Re-engaging on the JO, can they get him? JO just so damn tanky. In the meantime, we see Lena dropping. Telekinesis from Fear, now there's a follow-up hook, but there's a skewer that catches the whole team. BKB's up on Demon. They do manage to clean up JO in the meantime. And they're going to end up feeding a few back. Jo buys back just for safety's sake. But with 2 sets of racks down and a naked set of top racks, Liquid gonna have to... They're hoping for a miracle, basically. Bulba did complete his Zag, so he has his hook up and ready at any given point. We can see Korok has gone 100% pure damage with an MKB and a Daedalus now. Fear with mobility out the yin-yang. He's got a dagger as well as a Force Staff. Bambo, pretty much sitting on what he had a long time ago, but he's got buyback. And Demon, same thing. They're going to have to try to do this without Fluff. And again, they are hoping for a lot here. I don't think they can do anything. The best they can hope for is turtling out Roshan, I think. TC's tanked up. Net worth, he's still ahead. But Phantom Lancer, just the mechanics of the hero. Making this very difficult on Liquid. Fluff is back up. He is actually under cover of smoke and moving his way up slowly. Here we go. BKB going to be popped. They're going to grab TC. And off goes the Poison Nova as well. They're going to try to re-engage. TC pops his Satanic. He's trying to heal through it. Jo is down to half health. If they can get Jo, this could be the turnaround. Jo, 4-step, but no, he stutter steps and turns around. Can Korok catch him? Korok's going to dive him. Korok will get him. That's a triple kill for Korok. He's going to clean up Demon as well. And Liquid,
That's why I
hoping for a miracle,
Dire's middle tower
may have just found it. Oh my goodness. EG, what happened?
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
They're buyback from Brood, but it's not gonna matter. It's just not gonna matter. Liquid had to have a miracle and they found it.
Is under attack.
Everyone's down, and the Ancient goes down. Down goes EG. Down goes EG. As Team Liquid finds a win in the darkest of night. Having lost 2 racks, pushing out in desperation, and engaging with 4. Shocked and stunned. But Liquid digging deep and finds a way to win in game number 2, make it 2-0. They get their revenge. And the task EG set out to accomplish, to defeat Liquid in 3 consecutive meetings, had not been done in 2013, will not be done in 2013 if Liquid has anything to say about it.